Hello from Washington. Got a pine tree in the scene for you. I have been wearing my mask today because, where did it go? Well, somewhere around here I had a little digital thermometer. And so first, I don't know what people are doing for tiny colds or allergies that may just look like they're tiny colds or allergies, but might be a really minor case of the CV, because it's very confusing, and I'll tell you why. I feel pretty decent, but the last few days I've had some sneezing and some dry coughs, like really minor. And I used a laser thermometer to take my temperature, which it's a laser thermometer that's not meant for the body. It's what I could find. And it said my temperature was about 99 or 100 in my armpit. Axillary, if you're medical staff. I didn't know if that was accurate because that was not a thermometer that was meant for the body. It's actually it's from Home Depot for all kinds of stuff. But I got a thermometer today from a neighbor, and it confirmed that I have a low-grade fever. So I feel really normal, minus this teeny tiny cough that's barely showing up at all, and these sneezes. And I have the low-grade fever, and a couple of times I felt like I had a slightly runny nose, but I just feel pretty normal. The thing is, if you're paying attention, this is how some people get the case. Like, if they get the CV and it's not a big deal to their body, they just have these minor symptoms. And so that means you might not be very sick, but you could be a carrier. So I could just have allergies. Like, this could be absolutely nothing. But I don't want to be that jerk who's like, it's not a big deal, and then I go to the store and I touch everything, and then a week or two later I find out like it's full blown, and I just spread it around the community. So I'm using hand sanitizer. I wash my hands. I keep my clothes really clean. I have been decontaminating at my door. Even before I had any symptoms, as soon as I started to figure out how bad this was in China, and that it had gotten to Seattle, I started to decontaminate at my door. I would take my shoes off, my jacket off, purse, keys, everything that went out with me stayed at the door. I sprayed the bottom of my shoes with either like some peroxide or some white vinegar to kill anything I could have stepped on walking through parking lots where people spit and cough. And I was just leaving everything at the door and keeping my hands sanitized, and I've been really careful. But if you understand the spread of pathogens at all, you know that unless you're wearing a spacesuit everywhere you go, it's the more often you go places, the more points of contact you have, the more likely you are to be exposed to something. And if you go through Walmart one time, just one trip to a store, count how many things you touch, how many points of contact you make. It's so many. And you don't know how many other people touch that spot. So, like I said, I've been really cautious. And now I think that I might get stuck at home. I don't know. I say that, but I'm like, that's what they said to do. That's literally exactly what they said to do. If you get these symptoms, if your fever is not 101 or higher and you're not struggling to breathe, they're not going to test you. Like, they're flat out telling us, stay home. If your symptoms are not X, Y, and Z, we're not testing you. If they're bad enough, call your doctor and see if maybe they think that you need to be tested. But as you can see, I look pretty good right now. It's relative. I look fine right now. I sound fine. I'm breathing. So the responsible thing to do, even though I feel pretty decent, is really to stay home. I thought I had a doctor's appointment today. I had the day wrong, but doctor's appointments, and if I absolutely have to get something, I'll leave. But it's kind of daunting, because if I do the responsible thing, I'm gonna shelter in place, and you gotta wonder how many people are actually doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, I just now confirmed today that I do have a low-grade fever with the second thermometer. Like, okay, I do have a low-grade fever. I do need to be a responsible member of the community and treat this like I could have something contagious, even though it might be, who knows what else. How many people are actually taking their temperature? How many people with a mild sneeze actually care at all? I don't think very many. I would say, so this is kind of interesting to me. We're in this limbo where things are, I think, going to get really messy and bad. And some people know that, but they're not messy yet, and they're not bad, and most people don't think that. And so it's really calm. People are just like hanging out at Starbucks, skipping through the store, touching everything. Just people are just enjoying life in Washington, I think. Like 90%, 95% of people here are not panicking. Maybe they bought the hand sanitizer. So if you go into the stores, the shelves that are cleared are the hand sanitizers and the Lysol wipes. Those things are all pretty much gone off the shelves that I've seen. Toilet paper at Walmart yesterday was about like a 50% clear. It was like 50% cleared out, but there was still a lot of toilet paper left. And the water was about 50%. There was still a decent amount of water left. I haven't seen shortages on shelves of food. I've seen ramen noodles bought up at like Costco, but for the most part, people are not stripping the shelves down yet. I think that day is coming really fast, but it's not here yet. I think people are actually, for the most part, really calm. Probably too calm in Washington. Or calm is good. Too relaxed about what's going on. The caution is not there because people don't think it's that bad and they don't care. I don't know who's buying all the masks off the shelves, because I'm seeing almost no masks anywhere I go. And I bought masks a while back because of some of the natural events that are due to happen in this area. We've got volcanoes that could go off and all kinds of stuff in the Pacific Northwest. So I just wanted these in my house in case, one of the 4 volcanoes I can see from my town goes off in the next year or two. I happened to get them about a month before we found out about the CV. And so when we first found out about it, I wore a mask for like a few days to not catch it. And then I did all this research and did a lot of thinking, and it just seems like this isn't enough to stop the virus. And so I stopped wearing it for a little bit, and now I have some symptoms, and I am trying to be responsible, so I'm wearing it again. I'm using my hand sanitizer still, but I lost my place. I'm really sorry. So people are not freaking out, though. I'm not saying nobody's freaking out, but for the most part, life is really normal in Washington right now. And people are under-concerned for the most part, I think. I think in another month or two, the stores will see the food getting scrubbed off the shelves. I think that people will start pouring into the stores. Not just 1 or 2 Costco's having hour lines to get all the toilet paper and water bought, but like people actually taking all the food off the shelves. So as of today, March 5th, things are pretty dang calm here, and everybody's acting really normal, I think. Anybody who's freaking out is an outlier. So, kind of curious to come back and do another one of these in a couple weeks. And I might I've been wanting to start doing more YouTube videos, but especially since I'm needing to bunker down in my apartment for a little while to be a responsible citizen, I might do more videos. My whole, like, I think I have 1 subscriber, 2 subscribers. So it might just be you, Nerdy Art, I don't know. Anyway, that's what's going on in my area. Here's a side note, completely left field side note about what else is going on in my area. If you are following Cascadia, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you are not following Cascadia, you should go look it up. It's rather interesting. 4 days ago, I left this much water in the bottom of my bathtub. Let me step back a second. If you don't know about Cascadia, it's a large earthquake that's been building up for over 300 years, and it's due like any day. Our ground vibrates from Portland all the way up to Seattle. You can feel vibrations in the ground. Some people can feel it. And it's a lot of stuff is moving, a lot of magma is moving, Earth is shifting as we get closer to this earthquake. Well, let's go forward again. I left this much water in my bathtub 3 or 4 days ago. I walked out of the bathroom, went and did some stuff, came back in, and I couldn't even feel this. The only reason I knew that the building was moving was because the water was hitting one side of the bathtub, causing ripples, and going back and hitting the other side of the bathtub. It was literally doing this. Just really, really subtly, and I just stood there and stared at my bathtub. I should have recorded it. Our building was swaying with seismic activity, and you couldn't even feel it. Never seen bath water do that. So, got our eyes on the virus now, but our ground is shaking pretty good. So this could be a real interesting year for the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, that's your update from my messy car. Here's some Washington pine trees.